For the first time ever, in podcast form, it's question 23.
We're live in a podcast?
Yeah, there's a red light that says we're live.
Wow.
Which people say, I thought you were already doing a podcast. To which I say, yeah, but I want to be different. I was the kid. I think says a lot about me.
Yeah.
I was the Microsoft Zune kid. I didn't have an iPod.
And you didn't want one?
Didn't want the iPod.
Yeah.
I wanted the Microsoft Zune, which was superior.
I believe it.
It was before its time.
It's like...
It was almost a smartphone before a smartphone.
It was like VHS versus Betamax. Betamax was technically better, but VHS was just better. You know?
Is it? Why?
VHS was worse quality, but longer videos, and people cared about...
Is that what it is?
Yeah. That was
I heard that the reason why VHS... Hi, I'm Steven, by the way.
Hi, I'm Josh. We're getting into it.
I'm getting into it. I heard that the reason why VHS won is because that's what the porn industry chose.
I think that is partially true, but I don't think that's the sole reason.
I've also heard the same thing about Blu-ray. I've heard that every bit of technology where there's a technology war.
I think that simplifies a complex thing down too much. I think that the reason VHS was superior was multiple factors. Perhaps that was one, but I think the biggest thing was that for taping shows and making personal home movies and stuff like that, VHS was cheap. It wasn't quite as good of quality, but if you weren't an audiophile or a cinephile or something like that, you didn't care. And so you just got VHS, and it could store 90 minutes as opposed to like 20.
What about a pedophile?
What about a pedophile?
We're going to talk about pedophiles today.
We are.
The topic that we're discussing today, it's in the title, discussing the high school catfish unknown number documentary.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's like going viral, the documentary. People are talking about it. It's like a big thing. I don't watch Netflix. I don't watch anything on television.
I did notice it was like number 4 on Netflix right now or something like that.
Yeah.
Which feels inflated or something. I don't
think so. There are people that people are talking about it.
I guess I didn't find it as interesting as like a Jeffrey Dahmer thing or like the story.
Jeffrey Dahmer's old news though.
I guess the story itself, I guess maybe because I'm like a part of Gen Z and cyberbullying just feels so like a part of life. It's like someone getting cyberbullied. Granted, crazy outcome for the case, don't get me wrong, but like that feels less insane to me than like a serial killer documentary or like a big conspiracy theory, you know?
I guess before I can respond to that, we should say that there's spoilers. This is a discussion for people that have already seen it. If you haven't seen this, you want to watch it, you can fast forward to.
Are you gonna clip that in?
We'll put it in post.
Nice.
That's what they do on a podcast.
Nice.
So this is all, we're having a conversation and there's going to be spoilers. So there's that. I think it's different because it was the kid's mom. It's not some high school cyberbullying thing. It was the kid's mom.
I mean, coming right out of the gate.
Kendra.
For anyone who has not seen it but will not watch it and just wants to watch the show, can you give a brief summary of what we're going to be talking about?
So there's this couple. There's this couple in high school. They're a high school couple, freshmen in high school, 14, 15 years old. They start getting these texts. So it's a group text. So it's the two of them, and then this unknown number comes in and starts just bullying the shit out of both of them, but specifically the girl, telling the girl, her name is Lauren, oh, you're ugly, lonely ass. Owen doesn't want you. Owen's the boyfriend. Owen doesn't want you. Owen's going to be with me. You should hate yourself because Owen hates you. Nobody likes you. Mean things. And then it goes on for 2 years.
Yup.
2 years it goes on. And that's it. That's the start of it, right? That's the premise.
Yeah, that's the premise.
That's the premise.
There's a whole big, huge investigation that happens. All the parents get involved. Everyone's like, who is doing this? They can't track it down. They think it's some of their like friends potentially. The sheriff gets involved. The FBI gets involved. Come to find out.
Well, FBI doesn't get involved until almost the 2-year mark.
Yeah,
it's like
the sheriff had reached
they went
the
to
end of what he
school.
was capable.
They asked the principal to take care of it.
Principal couldn't do it.
Couldn't do anything.
Superintendent couldn't do anything. Sheriff couldn't do anything. They tried. They did their best, in my opinion. The parents didn't seem to think so. But when you have limited resources, you do the best you can, and then you hand it off to a different department.
Part of doing the best you can, I don't think the sheriff did the best that they could, because I think doing part of doing the best that you can involves understanding, okay, I can't figure this out. I need to bring this
hand
up.
it off. Yeah.
And they held on to it for a long time.
That's fair. That's true.
And got nothing out of it.
Yeah.
So turns out to be the girl's mom.
The Lauren's mom, her name is Kendra. This whole time. And
here's the thing. Here's how they got me. I didn't know who it was.
I truly, as soon as I started watching this documentary and learned the premise of it, was like, it's the mom. Right away.
Why? Well, here's why I didn't. The mom was in the documentary.
That's true. I did get thrown off. The mom gets interviewed in the documentary, and we don't, like, from the very beginning, before we know that she is the one who is sending these horrible, also incredibly inappropriate, like, super sexual, like, talking about very sexually about this 15-year-old boy. And like the things that, this unknown number masquerading as a high schooler, like, wanted to do with him. It was horrifying. But yeah, we didn't know that it was her, and she was being interviewed in the documentary.
She's in the documentary, and she's like laughing and smiling when she's talking about the funny things, and she's talking about, well, this text started coming in, then we had to talk to the principal, and then we tried this. So, like, the whole time I'm like, oh, she's trying to figure it out. Like, there's not a documentary where Jeffrey Dahmer is in there talking about, well, there were these string of murders going on.
I was, in terms of like, who is the prime suspect? My brain immediately went to the mom, because moms and daughters have complicated relationships. And if you are mentally unwell and something like this starts happening, I'm like, it's the mom. Like, it just is. Like, that's just... If it's not...
No, it's not. That's not the first way that you go.
That is.
No, it's not.
Yes, because if it's not the daughter doing it to herself for attention, it's going to be the mom doing it to the daughter, because the mom wants the daughter's attention.
I think you can say that, and that sounds obvious now because you've seen the documentary. Before going into the documentary,
that was my
that's not the common thought process that somebody's going to have.
I don't think it's common. I think I'm better than other people and smarter than them. And so I figured it out before even the sheriff could. Thank you very much.
Anyways, they got me because I didn't know. I had no idea.
You got whiplash.
Who it was. No idea who it was. I knew that it was, I guess I didn't. You thought about it. I didn't want to think about it because I had started to see TikToks about it and people were saying like, oh my God, it was shocking or whatever. But I didn't want to dig into it. I didn't want to think through of who it could be. I wanted to go along for the ride.
To be fair, I just recently watched a movie called Wicked Little Letters, and the premise of this documentary
with like Elphaba and
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's about Elphaba and Glinda, and they write little letters back
Love
and forth
letters.
to each other. Yeah, and it's a lesbian romance between the two of them. It's really good.
People say that's what Wicked is about.
That's crazy. No, it was a movie about this woman in, like, I don't know, the late 1800s, early 1900s maybe, in Britain. And she's like this really chaste, like, religious woman. And she starts getting these horrible, vulgar letters in the mail. And everyone in the town thinks that it's her neighbor who is sending them, because her neighbor is this very vulgar, like, intense Irish woman. And come to find out, after this whole, court case, come to find out, the person sending the letters was the chaste religious woman. She was doing it to herself. She was sending them to herself, and then eventually she spread out and started sending them to other people in the town. And her explanation for why was that she started and she couldn't stop. So that is more understandable than the mom. Like, I can understand that. That happens all the time. Remember there was that actor who beat himself up? Smollett, Jussie Smollett. I think.
Yeah.
Jussie Smollett?
That's probably better than.
I think so.
He beat himself up.
Yeah.
And went to the police, and like it was like a thing. Like, doing something to yourself, I think that happens all the time.
Yeah.
Not in such an
But if it's
extreme
not Lauren,
circumstance.
who else is it going to be?
Yeah.
My first thought goes to the mom.
Yeah.
And I was right.
Yeah, you were right. From the very beginning, I guess I didn't want to put the pieces together. I wanted to ride the roller coaster.
Ride the roller coaster. I don't want that.
Yeah.
I'm there to figure it out.
But while I'm doing that, I am asking, why don't you change your phone number?
And they talk about that. I couldn't agree more.
Their response to that was, we got to figure it out. No, I think your 14-year-old daughter and your 14-year-old son, their mental health
matters more
than catching somebody.
Yep. I couldn't agree more. I think that was the biggest mistake that the parents made throughout this entire thing was even what they could have done. And, granted, hindsight's 20/20, and I understand the desire to like catch this bully that is sending horrible, horrible messages. At one point, this bully tells Lauren to kill herself, and it's like, you're ugly, no one wants you, you'd be better off dead, you should kill yourself.
Multiple times telling her to kill herself.
Multiple times. And so it makes sense that the parents are like, this is not okay, we need to catch who this person is. And also, I'm like, why can't you get new phones, change the phone numbers, keep the current phone active, and continue the investigation, and have the text still be coming in, but to that phone. Owen doesn't need to be seeing it. Lauren doesn't need to be seeing it. The text can still come in. You can still do your investigation. I don't understand why you can't just change their phone numbers.
I don't know why the sheriff wouldn't have recommended that. The principal wouldn't have recommended that.
They did.
Like,
the parents
recommended it to a point that's like, I'm not playing this game investigation if you're not gonna do it right.
I think it was insane, and again, I understand why the parents didn't want to, because they wanted to catch this person or whatever, but like at that point I'm like, okay, but like, why can't you do both? And like, if they did change their numbers and Owen gave his number out to like a select handful of people, it's like, okay, just give your number out to a select handful of people, and then if you start getting texts again, we know it's one of those select handful of people.
Or even if it's not like even if you get text again, just try it. Just try it. Just see what happens.
Yeah.
Let's cross that off the list.
Cross that off the list.
And then if it doesn't work, then okay, then we'll figure out something else.
Yeah.
But at least try it.
It was really intense because the mom, Owen's mom, like there's a video, police cam, or whatever from the little chest camera.
Yeah.
From the sheriff of her interview with him at one point. It's like a year and a half in of getting these messages. And she's like crying because she has Owen's phone and the messages are coming in right that moment. And she's like, these are awful, awful, awful. Like, I just can't even believe it. And the first thing the sheriff asks is, well, have we gotten Owen a new phone? Like, does he have a new phone number? And she goes, no. And then the sheriff goes, okay, are we going to? And
so I don't think that Jill was in on it, obviously.
No, certainly not.
But she must have been getting something out of this, the drama of it all.
And I think it's that parental need for like, we need justice. We need to like fix this, and like I don't feel like the police are doing enough, and I don't feel like the teachers are doing enough.
I think the parental need
I'm going to do it.
Shouldn't be justice. It's taking care of my kid. That should be the priority.
Ideally. But I clearly think that ended up not being the case. Like, in her mind, obviously, speaking for her, but I would bet that in her mind, taking care of her kid was getting justice for him. I disagree with that strongly. I think the easiest course of action would have been just get him a new phone. Like, change the phone number.
Change the phone number.
Why didn't you just change the phone number and try it? Like, that was insane. So yeah, right off the bat.
So the moms are, Kendra, the mom that's doing it, we're going to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
Jill, also not great for not doing that.
Yeah, I agree.
For also, and this is where things get mixed, but for really pushing that it was, what's the girl? Chloe?
Yeah.
And going after Chloe.
Really, which again,
who is a bully. She is a mean girl. She did throw those carrots at that girl.
Absolutely.
The way they said that they didn't was like, oh, that you did.
You absolutely did. Yeah.
But as you as a parent, if you don't know for sure, you shouldn't have said that.
Yep.
You shouldn't be blaming.
Well, and again, it's this thing of like, as a parent, all you want is for your kid to be safe. And if someone is harming your kid, you want to get to the bottom of it yourself, right? And again, this is where it's like, I can understand why in the parents' view, they're like, the school didn't do enough. They didn't handle it properly. The sheriff's office didn't do enough. They didn't handle it properly. And it's like, the school was doing everything they had the resources to do. That was within the law. The sheriff's office was doing everything they had the resources to do. That was within the law. Do I think they could have handed it over to the FBI sooner? Yes, absolutely. Why didn't they? Bureaucracy, red tape, questions. Who's to say?
No, that's not bureaucracy and red tape.
That's just the sheriff not handing it over.
The sheriff wanting to figure it out himself, and not acknowledging that it's out of his hands, out of his power, out of his control to be able to do that.
Yeah,
the bad sheriff.
Yeah, I don't know if he's a bad sheriff. I think he mishandled this case.
I think that's indicative of his abilities as a sheriff.
Perhaps. But yeah, trying to blame it on Chloe and like,
well, for Jill to try to do it is like, okay, you shouldn't have done that. That was not wise. But for Kendra to do that alone right there. So Kendra, I don't think she to this day grasps the gravity of what she did.
100%.
She is still in this delusional space where she thinks that what she did is okay, considering the circumstances and considering her background, and it's just something that happened.
I don't even know if she thinks it's okay. I think she knows that she did something wrong. I don't think she realizes how bad of a thing it was that she did.
Yeah.
Like, in her interviews, she makes it sound like, I did a bad thing and I feel so bad about that and I'm so sorry for it. But the reason I did it was because I had trauma and I had like, for her, she feels justified in doing it. And it's like, babe, that's crazy. There's
I think
no
that you're right on that. I think that she still also doesn't. I think she doesn't grasp.
I think she's delusional.
Grasp it at all.
Yes.
That it was bad. Like
the fact that she was telling
I think her like
daughter,
crying and saying sorry is an act. I think that she is a narcissist and got caught.
Yes.
And I think that was an act. I think they put on a show, and for the director of this documentary to give her the stage to put on this show, I think is incredibly irresponsible. And I know as a documentarian,
sure,
maybe you're not held to the same standards of like a journalist, and I know you're just trying to create entertainment for Netflix. I think that was incredibly irresponsible the way they handled Kendra being in this and telling the story. They dropped the ball on it.
I think I disagree.
Why?
Because I think from a storytelling perspective, it's very interesting to hear her side of the story and how she justified it, and also have the lens of, even though she's justifying it, we as the audience can tell it's not justified. Like, I think she still got to paint her little, like, oh no, I'm actually partially the victim in this, and like, I was really struggling and I did this. And also, we as the audience don't, I guess I didn't buy it as an audience member. I was like, this woman needs help. And also with her like crying and being like, I don't know who I was in those moments. It's like, I believe that she feels that way. Like, I believe that she is living in a delusion. Like, when she's crying and when she is saying, like, experiencing all these emotions, I think it's the thing of like, she is genuinely feeling those emotions of regret and like frustration
because
with
she got
herself.
caught.
Because she got caught. Certainly because she got caught. Absolutely 100%.
I don't think that she thinks she did anything wrong.
I think that's possible.
She's like, no, I got raped, which is terrible.
Awful.
She's like,
Terrible.
I got raped when I was a kid,
Yeah.
and things were stressful and whatever.
I was having
and
money
it's just
issues,
something
my
that
relationship
happened.
was wrong. Yeah.
There's no ownership taken of it. She did not take any ownership of the responsibility. She just was like, I just got caught up in it too. And that's how the cops, like, whenever she got busted and the cops like telling Lauren like, hey, come in and sit down. We're going to tell you about what your mom did. Yeah. The cops like phrased it, and I get it because she's a kid. Like, you're going to try to like do your best. But they made it seem like it wasn't her fault. It wasn't the mom's fault. That's not okay. And then I think the documentary continued to do that. The documentary should have pressed her. There should have been, the word pedophile was not mentioned at all in that documentary.
The word pedophile
That's
should
a
have been
huge
tossed
disservice.
As soon as she was discovered. It was slightly alluded to that maybe she had like an affection for Owen or something.
It was more than that. If they're talking about Owen giving blowjobs and Owen and finger fucking and like all of that kind of stuff.
This like middle-aged woman is texting that about this 15-year-old to her 15-year-old daughter, being like, you should be doing this and you're disgusting, and like that's what Owen wants, and like even the fact that wasn't harped on more, and
that's a huge miss.
Maybe there's legality stuff, I don't know, but the fact that like she fully had an infatuation with this child, and we barely touched on that, and instead we saw her crying and like being like sad that she got caught, essentially. I do agree is a big miss for this documentary.
They gave her an out. They asked, why'd you do it? And she's sitting there crying, and you can hear someone in the background. I don't know if it's the director or what. They go, did you feel like you were texting yourself?
Yeah.
Like giving her an out. Like, just shut up and let her talk.
Yeah.
If you are going to let us put together the pieces,
silence.
Let us put together the pieces of what's actually being done. But it's like, oh, here, you can use this, say this.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that, here's what I think.
What?
I think the director wanted us to have something that was entertaining. And they said, for this to be as entertaining as I want it to be, this needs to be a curveball. The only way it's a curveball is if I have Kendra doing happy interviews in the beginning of this documentary. And I think for her to get Kendra to agree to do all of this stuff in there, or for her, I don't know who the director is. It's a man or a woman, or in between, or differently than that. I don't. I think for the director to get Kendra to do that, the director was like, "Well, I can't go too hard on Kendra."
I believe that,
and I think that's incredibly irresponsible.
I also agree with that statement.
If you can't tell the story the way that it needs to be told, then you don't tell it.
Yeah. Well, and it also was interesting. Well, I guess I have thoughts about the end of the documentary, but we're not quite there yet. Are there any other points in the middle? Because I have strong feelings about how the end was edited.
First of all, that was a long documentary. Or maybe it wasn't that long, but it felt like it because it was like, okay, we found out who it is.
And then there's another
still
hour.
40 minutes.
Yes.
So
it was like 51 minutes in, they reveal, and then there's still 50 minutes of basically Kendra getting to say why she did it, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And
and maybe it's just not in the documentary. This town, at the beginning, it talked about how small this town was they lived in.
Yeah.
This town is so small. They have kindergarten through 12th grade in one building.
Correct. They have one stoplight and 2 bars.
They have 30 people in a class.
Mm-hmm.
Like in a whole, like the whole graduating class is 30 people.
Yep.
Everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows that everything. How do the rest of the people in the town not put it together?
What do you mean?
This woman was obsessed with Owen and would go to his football games, wanted to go with him to an out-of-state tournament. Not because Lauren was going, but she just wanted to be there for Owen.
I don't remember that part. Is that how she knew about his new girlfriend?
Maybe. No, I don't think it was connected to that.
Oh, gotcha.
But it was just something that they mentioned in there. Did they? Or I read that?
You might have read that. I don't remember that from the documentary. But even still, she did.
I'm pretty sure it was a documentary. Like they were going, the family had to go out of town for a basketball tournament or something. And she wanted to go. And Jill had to be like, no, I don't think so.
Lauren and Owen had broken up at that point, and she still went to all of his games. She still would text him and like try to have a relationship with him of like.
So that's weird on its own.
Yes.
That's weird. People are going to look at this woman and be like, that's weird. And then you have this other weird thing where there's 2 years of these unknown number text messages. Do people not put that together?
I guess not. But also, they were so sure that it was a student that maybe everyone was just like, no, it's a student, it's a student, it's a student. Like, yeah, that's a little weird. I mean, Jill was shocked, right? You trust people. And when you trust people, you choose not to believe that is something that they could do.
I guess that is kind of blinding.
Yeah. We can look at it from the objective perspective of like, here's all the facts, but this is your best friend. If
not the rest of the town, her husband. I think Lauren's dad is at least partially responsible for what's going on here. Not legally. I don't think that he should be prosecuted.
Yeah, but emotionally.
But he should have played a bigger part in all of this. And I don't understand.
In what way?
Just being aware of what's happening in your household. How did he not know that his wife did not have a job for that time?
That's pretty How
do you
insane.
not? If I lost my job, maybe you could get away for a week or 2 weeks. It sounds like this was a long, giant chunk of time,
a full year,
that she didn't have a job.
She said that she worked remote from home, though, and he did not work remote. He had a job outside of the home.
Yeah,
so
but you're not getting paychecks.
Yeah, which he didn't handle any of the money.
That's what I mean.
That's what
this guy was so removed.
Hold on. That's what narcissists do. They control the situation every single way that they can. So she said, don't worry about it. I've got it. Everything's fine. I'll handle the finances. You sit back. You relax. Right?
Right.
She was in control of that situation. And I think it's not fair to... in an ideal household, I think both of you should be aware of the finances, yada, yada, yada. Like, it should be a shared egalitarian thing. But a narcissist is going to do everything that they can to have control over the situation and to bend things to their will, right? So for him to not be aware of that there was no money and that, she said she got let go from her jobs. He knew she wasn't working. But
it was also longer. He thought it was a more recent thing.
But that was probably because she got to the point where she couldn't explain it anymore. And so she had to say she got let go. And then we find out she got fired from her job. I think it's extremely understandable from his perspective that he was essentially not allowed to see the finances of the house. And don't get me wrong, like, if things are questionable financially and you got an eviction notice and you lost your home, like, you should be pressing on that. And also, I think if you have a narcissist in your home who is controlling the situation and is like, no, don't worry, everything's fine. I got it. We're going to figure this out. I've got it. Just stay there. I get it.
Outside of finances, let's take the finance part out of it.
Okay.
This guy is so absent from the household. These are tons of texts that are happening. From what I grasp, there are days where there's lots of
40
texts
to
happening.
50 texts a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if he's at work, and let's say those are all happening while he's gone. At some point, this lady's on her second or third phone over here and is doing something. Like,
has an IT background.
We don't even live together.
Yeah.
If I had another phone and had the ability to text somebody 50 times a day, at some point, you're aware enough of when we're together and just kind of what's going on in my life that you would be able to see that. And especially if your daughter, if this thing is happening to your daughter, it's like, I need to tune in to what's happening into my family right now. I have a responsibility as a parent.
I think that's possible. I think that makes sense. It also sounds like there were familial issues happening throughout the course of this that enabled this to happen and for that kind of oversight to happen. I agree. I think it's, and again, we're sitting in a studio talking about what they should have done.
Well, I'm standing.
Done better, whatever. But I do agree. I think it's certainly one of those things where, like, in an ideal situation, you are tuned in to what's happening in the house. And also, again, just from the human aspect of it, it's like, if your life is chaos and you hate being at home because there's financial issues and you maybe don't love your wife anymore, and like your daughter is angry and upset and has all this stuff happening that's emotional, like, I don't think it's right, but I do understand how people check out from that and are just like, I can't handle this.
I'll give you that.
Especially dads, especially like men, realistically, having super emotional stuff. And Kendra was the one who was comforting Lauren the entire time. Kendra was the one who was coddling. Like, I mean, from the sound of it, it sounds like Lauren would come home from school every single day and just be so upset, and Kendra would swoop in and handle it. And so again, it's the narcissist controlling the situation, and Kendra's got it handled. Like, yeah, ideally the dad should have been more there for his daughter, and it's, I'm glad to see that in the epilogue it sounds like they are really close now. It's awful that this was the situation that did it, but and also it's like, I get it if Kendra's like, no, like, I'm her mom, like, let me talk to her, let me handle it, like, don't worry about it. That's the narcissist controlling the situation.
I think that you make a good explanation for how this could have happened and why this could have happened, and then that makes sense. I still think that he has some responsibility to bear here, and I think that he should feel guilty. I think that he fucked up.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And I think that he needs to deal with that.
Yeah, if he hasn't already. It's possible that he has.
Yeah. So back to, again, I don't know if this is journalism or what. I don't know what documentaries are.
I think it really depends on the documentary, because this felt very... I've watched documentaries that are very informational, that teach you about an interesting place, or that show you like the life of an interesting community or something, and there's not, like, the story is not meant to be a gotcha, This felt very gotcha journalism.
It was very entertaining.
Extremely meant for, we are making something, this made big headlines on the news. We are going to make this documentary to get people talking about it again, so that we as Netflix can get a bajillion people to watch it, and get people to talk about it, and get more people to watch it, and sensationalize it once again. I will say, I think they did a good job of getting everyone's story. Like, I felt like I had a very clear, full picture of, here's what, Lauren was feeling. Here's what Chloe was feeling. Here's what Chloe's friends were feeling as Chloe was getting accused of this. I mean,
and Chloe's parents.
Chloe's parents.
So we know fully
Chloe's a bully.
How Chloe became the way that she was.
Absolutely. Chloe's parents, and again, if you watch the documentary, you probably know. Chloe's parents are intense, we'll say. Her dad at the end openly, like, I think he says, like, I wish I had it exact. He openly criticizes the sheriff in a way that is like, oh, this person is not just like, feels like the sheriff mishandled this. This is a person who is like actively demeaning the sheriff on camera and chuckling about it and feeling good about it.
I feel like the whole town...
It was icky to watch.
I feel like the whole town... Or I can't say the whole town. We only got the perspective of like people there. But I get the vibes that the whole town acts as a high school. Because they're so small and interconnected, those people never grew up out of, like, you go to high school and you experience the dynamics of what happens in high school, and then you go to college or you go get a job, you get out of that and you learn, okay, this is how the real world works. Those people have never left that. They never had the chance to do that because it's so small. Everything still is the dynamic of high school.
Steven, I can tell you from living in a smallish town, not nearly this small, but like...
Y'all have at least 2 stoplights, I think, in your town.
No, I grew up in a town of like 45,000. So like definitely not this, but even within that, even just at like the school, like my school and in my area, in my neighborhood, like people talk. I mean, adults talk. Like, that's just what happens. And especially when you're a high schooler and like if you're, I can remember times being at a friend's house and hearing their parents talk about things happening in the community or other people's families, and it's full-blown gossip. And it's like, oh, this is just kind of what you do because there's nothing else to talk about,
Yeah.
And that's
that whole town.
That's small town.
The whole town is like that.
That's what happens.
I would have liked to have seen somebody from an outside perspective to kind of give a little bit of analysis of what's going on, like a psychologist. If there was a psychologist that would be there and be like, well, something that we've seen, because they talk about the Munchausen by proxy being like a digital version of that or something. If there was a psychologist that could have explained a little bit of what's going on there.
I can't believe they didn't interview a psychologist. I can't believe they didn't interview
nobody to give an outside analysis.
Yeah. The only guy they interviewed was the prosecutor or something like that, and I think that was pretty much it. He was the only person who it was like, oh, this is a new face who's like talking about this situation as like someone from the outside of that situation. The fact that we didn't dig into like Kendra's mental illnesses that she has and like,
oh yeah,
and
nobody else had any background on Kendra. They brought the one cousin on that said, oh no, she liked to be the center of attention, but that's Kendra.
Yeah.
Nobody else to like give any other perspective on her background either. It is a bad documentary, and not like oh my God, that was so bad, I couldn't believe it and I felt sick to my stomach. No, it was a bad put together documentary.
I agree with that. Very entertaining, extremely entertaining, unfortunately.
That's dangerous.
It is. It's a bad documentary and it's extremely entertaining. I think it was not I think they just mishandled a lot of the information gathering. Like it felt very like we're here to entertain you and not we're here to lay out the facts of what happened.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Apparently there's a Lifetime movie about this whole story. That's your opportunity to put together something entertaining. But if you're going to market it as a documentary,
yeah,
not good.
Yeah.
What other thoughts do you have about the end?
So at the very end, so part of the epilogue, so we find out it's Kendra, right? And we watch the sheriff confronting Kendra in the house and being like, it was he did a really good job of pinning her because he needed her to have a confession. Essentially, they tracked it down.
I was surprised that she confessed right then and there.
Well, that was where it was like, I have seen this sort of training happen where you basically, without saying it, like, hey, we know you did this. You say, hey, like, we need your phone. Like, we have a search warrant for your phones. We pinged it back to you. And like, you don't say, we know you did it, but it's like, here's you just line up the evidence in front of them. And then you let them be like, okay, yeah, I did it. And the way that the sheriff did that, I was like, that was good. Because if he had gone in and been like, hey, were you sending these messages in order to get her to say like, yeah, I did it, she would have been like, no, of course not. And even with the search warrant, I think they wouldn't have been able to get that video of her being like, yeah, I did it. Yeah. And that was what allowed them to prosecute in court. So I will say that was very, very well done.
What were the final charges?
The final charges were felony stalking of minor. 2 charges for her daughter and for Owen. Yeah. But the fact that, so we get the epilogue, Kendra gets caught, and then we see kind of what's happening now with Owen and with Lauren and with the parents. I guess with Owen's parents, and with Lauren's dad, and with Lauren. And so Kendra ended up getting sentenced to, I think, 1.5 years in prison. And throughout that time, part of the stipulation was initially that Lauren and Kendra were not allowed to communicate with each other.
Which is standard, right, for a stalking case.
Absolutely.
Normally, it's not people stalking their child, but yeah.
And then we come to find out that Lauren... I feel bad for Lauren in this whole situation. I think she truly went through it and honestly is still going through it, because that is a victim of a horrible crime who also, it's messy because it's her mom and she loves her mom and she's super, super close with her mom. And then to find out that her mom did this horrible, horrible thing to her and was saying these horrible things and was telling her to kill herself. And then to like process all of that, I don't think she
hasn't processed it a bit,
because her mom was in jail and they were emailing back and forth. Her mom was like, her mom love bombed her after that. Her mom, like, completely, all of her messages were just love bombing, like, I love you, XOXO, like, you're the light of my life, you're a star, you're the best thing that's ever happened to me, blah 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 blah, like every single message. And
I think that's another example of dad should have been providing some kind of other side to that being, hey, by the way, your mom's a fucking lunatic.
Yeah.
So I know that she's
Doing
explaining like what love bombing is, which he probably
maybe,
doesn't know. He's a country bumpkin, all these guys.
And maybe he did. That's the thing. We didn't see a lot of the dad's perspective. You know, we didn't get to see any of what he had to say after explaining everything that had happened. But Lauren still feels an attachment to her mom. They're not allowed to see each other, but they do still communicate through email or text or phone call or something like that. And Lauren is at a point where she is like, I don't know why my mom did those things, and it's hard that she did those things, and also I still love my mom. And the way that the documentary pings that is that she's crazy and that she shouldn't feel that way about her mom and that she is delusional.
Is that how the documentary painted that?
At the very end, I think so, absolutely. At the very end, Lauren is talking about how she still loves her mom and how she still wants to have a relationship with her mom. And as she's saying that, they ping up on the screen a text that her mom, the bully, had sent her from this anonymous number. That's like, you know, the worst of the texts of like, fucking kill yourself. You're horrible and ugly and you deserve to die. And then Lauren is like, and I know she made a mistake, but I want her to be in my life. And then another text pops up that's like, you like ugly ass bitch, you're the worst thing and you don't deserve to breathe air. And it's like juxtaposing Lauren being like, I love my mom even though she's a complicated person and this is a complicated situation and my life is now a complicated thing. And I felt like just completely simplified it down to like her mom did a horrible, terrible thing to her, and so she should hate her mom for the rest of her life. And it's like, I don't think that relationship is that simple. In an ideal world, I think you would completely cut off your abuser and have no more connection to them. But if you love your abuser and you have a strong relationship with them and they were comforting you through this whole awful situation, and then you find out that they did it but also still love you and did it for fucked up, twisted reasons, that's not an easy situation to be like, I'm just going to cut you off, especially as, what is she, 17 now?
That's the
18?
thing is
she has so much
she's
time
trying to figure
process.
out her own thing. And that's where I think
she'll go off to college.
She needs somebody else to help guide her.
Yes.
If it's not her dad, if it's not the community, like if she needs somebody else that is wiser, and maybe it's from an outside perspective. I don't know what it is. Somebody else needs to be in there because otherwise she never had a chance to
escape,
break away from the web of the narcissist that her mother was and is today.
I'm hoping that is what ends up happening as she goes off to college and as she has more exposure to the world and as she has space and time to like meet new people and understand, look back at her childhood and this horrible experience from an objective position as opposed to an emotional one. Because I think she's very tied up in the emotions of it still, of like, my mom did this awful thing, but I love my mom. So therefore I can't process that my mom did this awful thing because I love my mom. And like, that happens. I mean, that's like, abuser relationships are not
I guess
simple.
that happens every day and it's not broadcasted to millions of people on Netflix.
So I think she got the bad. I think Kendra got the good end of the stick in that documentary, and I think Lauren got the bad end of the stick because I think they made it look like Lauren is crazy for still wanting a relationship with her mom, and then they painted her mom as being, I still think, a monster, certainly. Or at the very least extremely unstable and in need of help and a narcissist and someone who's living in a delusion. And also they really gave her an out with just like, why'd you do it? Is it because you were turning in on yourself? Is it
so irresponsible?
They were fully leading the witness, if you will. But yeah, what did you like about the documentary? We've been harping on the things we didn't like. Is there anything you did like about it? Anything you thought they did well? I liked the full breadth. I liked that they not only interviewed Chloe, they interviewed Chloe's friends. I liked that they interviewed the parents, but I liked that they showed both the like professional interview with the parents, you know, with the camera crew, and then I loved that they showed the actual sheriff footage of like when the sheriff was interviewing the parents, when the sheriff was interviewing the kids. I
did like that.
The questions that the sheriff and the police were asking the kids, I was like, these are horrible questions to ask a teenager.
What were they? What were the questions?
It was
I don't
just
remember.
like, did you do this? Do you know about this? And it was like, no teenager's going to say yes. Like,
that's probably, though, they probably asked that just to see what the reaction is.
Maybe, I guess.
Like,
that's true. They're not
like
looking
you said, like,
for factual information at that point.
It's
They're
just like,
looking
what's
to
the
gauge-
reaction? Like, if you're guilty and I accuse you of something, you're going to react
Yeah.
differently than if you're innocent and I accuse you of something.
That's true.
You know? So I get that. I did love body cam footage. I love anything that's real like that. I would have liked to have seen more. I know we got a decent amount. I would have liked to have seen, maybe it's available online. I want to see the whole interaction from the sheriff coming up with the, it's not subpoena. What is it called?
The search warrant.
The search warrant for the phones. From the second the sheriff got out of his car to when he got back in, I would watch that. If it's an hour or whatever it is, I would just watch that. I want to see more of that. I specifically like the interaction between Kendra and Lauren.
Mhm.
I want to see more of what was happening there.
Yeah. Well, and that's the craziest thing too in that video is that as Kendra is being, accused by the sheriff officer, or is not even being accused, is admitting to doing those things in front of the sheriff. She's like holding Lauren and is like, I can't leave
that
Lauren.
poor girl.
Like, oh my
that
God.
poor girl.
I know. And Lauren is holding her mom and is like, I don't know what's happening. Like, I don't want my mom to be in trouble. What's going on?
She doesn't have anything else. The dad is checked out.
Kendra? Oh, Lauren?
Lauren.
Yeah.
Dad is checked out. So that's all that Lauren has. That's so sad.
Yeah. Which, and I mean,
That's
it does,
so sad.
again, in the epilogue, it does sound like Lauren and her dad got a lot closer and have a much stronger emotional connection because of this, because they went through a trauma together. But again, I think it's a good, if there's parents watching that, I hope that something they take away is, I should be more in tune with what my children are up to and not just be checked out from their lives. Even if my wife is handling it or my husband is handling it, it's like, no, you both need to be handling it. Like, you both need to be aware of what's going on.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
So let's say FBI is not able to track where this is coming from. Kendra, the IT specialist, is so smart and is able to mask her number and IP address.
Mm-hmm.
What would have how would this have ended?
I could see this ending in a suicide easily.
Or murder. Or some kind of attack.
I mean, look at what's her face? Something Rose Blanchett or something?
Gypsy Rose.
Gypsy Rose. Look at what happened with the Gypsy Rose case, which was Manchester by proxy. And they talked about this, how this was kind of a digital version of that. And that was more extreme in that, Gypsy Rose killed her mom at the end. But like,
I'm thinking the other way. I think Kendra would have killed her, Lauren or something.
I could fully
or
see
Owen.
I could fully see Kendra,
Or at least hiring a hitman or something. Not even, I don't think Owen. I think that she would do it to Lauren because she wanted the attention.
Yeah.
Of I lost my baby.
That is.
I think that's how it ends.
Yeah.
If there's no intervention, like what happened.
I think either that happens or someone commits, like one of the kids commits suicide, or it would have been bad. It doesn't, regardless of what it would have been bad. And I will say I have a maybe cynical perspective on relationships. I am a firm believer that love is not enough. I think we are told like love is, the most powerful thing and is the truest answer, and like a lot of stories are like true love, and that's like a big thing. But in the practical day-to-day, you can love someone and also do horrible things to them.
Yeah.
And you can love someone and also...
But if you love them enough, do you just not do those things?
Ideally, but I think you need love, and I think you need response. I think you need love, and I think you need respect. I think you can love someone and not respect them. And I think she didn't respect her daughter. I think she loved her daughter so much, and she did not respect her daughter, because if she respected her daughter, she would never have sent those texts in the first place.
I think that's a narrow definition of love. I don't think that. I think she
You
needed
think love
her daughter.
encompasses
I think
respect?
she needed her daughter. I don't think that she loved. If you love somebody, that's not gonna happen. Like, I respect. If I'm gonna show respect for somebody, I'm gonna do it out of love.
Elaborate.
Like, because even if I don't love that, I think that everything that I do comes out of love for, in one way or another. If it's not for the specific person, for the world and the community that we have.
What if
and respecting?
What if that ends up hurting someone?
What do you mean?
I have a very personal take on this, and part of it is that you can love someone, and because you love them, you try to protect them from something, or you try to help them in a way that you think is best for them that is not best for them, and that ends up hurting them. And I think that's why love is not enough, is because just because you love someone doesn't mean that you're going to make the right decisions for them.
Yeah, that's true. But I think part of love is also loving yourself to like go and like get therapy, and because that's some shit that like you figure out in therapy, right? Like,
yeah.
Anytime, like if I'm gonna do something out of love to like protect you or whatever, probably 9 times out of 10, there's some kind of motive in my psyche or whatever that's making me do that.
But what if that protection ends up? I mean, this happens in relationships all the time, friendships, relationships, whatever, where you don't want to hurt someone's feelings because you love them, and so you withhold information, or you lie to them or something. And then because that is coming from a place of love, of like, I don't want to hurt them. Like,
I think that's coming from a place out of being nice. I don't think that comes out of a place of love. I think love is a much more raw energy type of thing. And the examples that you're giving are like of like trying to be nice or solve something else. I think that Kendra needed her daughter and needed this relationship to fill something within her, and that was a taking priority over her love for her daughter.
But you still think she loved her daughter?
I think that she
loves her daughter,
but that's being clouded by whatever's going on in her head.
I think if you have love in its ideal form, that could be enough. But I think in day-to-day life as human beings, you can love something and not have it be a pure, true love. So maybe that's what it is.
That's fair.
A true love, sure, maybe that's the answer. But if you have a love that is tainted, that is toxic, that has other stuff going on in it, love's not enough. You have to have checks and balances within that love. And I think because humans are imperfect, that's where it's like you love the people around you, and also you got to make sure that love is coming out in ways that are helpful and not hurtful.
Yeah. I think that.
And in this case, Kendra showed her love in a very hurtful way.
Yeah. I don't think that was her love, though.
I don't think it was either. I think
that was her filling that hole, trying to fill some kind of hole.
Fully delusional. Yeah.
All right. I give it a thumbs down.
I give it a thumbs down too.
That was bad.
Very entertaining.
I haven't watched a documentary in a long time. If that's what documentaries are now, we're cooked, bro. We're cooked. Chat, we're cooked.
Chat, we're cooked.
We're cooked.
Yeah. Very entertaining. Not very well. Not safely done.
No.
I would say. Not a safely told story. Told to get people to watch it because it's very entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep looking at my phone. I'm getting these texts.
What texts are you getting?
What is that?
Hey, Steven. Josh is leaving question 23, and he's going to host another podcast with me, you nasty slut.
Oh, my God.
That was crazy. Who sent that?
What was? It's an unknown number.
It's an unknown number?
I don't know that.
It's obvious he hates your flat pancake ass attempts at jokes, and he wants to host with me instead.
Is that true?
No.
Do we have to? Who is this?
This is I don't know. I don't have my phone's not on me.
He laughs at my jokes and even does show prep for me.
You don't even do show prep for me, babe.
This is not okay. This is not me. This is someone making stuff up to get to you and to hurt you.
He fingers all my buttons and sticks my microphone in his mouth.
That's gross. Well, first of all, that's not how microphones work. So if that is what's happening,
so that person is
I don't
crazy.
recommend that.
Yeah, that person is
I don't recommend
awful.
We're going to run a professional podcast studio, and your sorry lonely ass won't be there.
Okay,
That's bad. That's mean.
Wait, is this? I'm confused now. Is this talking about me and this person?
I guess that's what it sounds like to me.
I'd have no plans to do that. I don't even know who this person is.
Oh, and also Josh is coming to Chloe's Halloween party with me. We're both DTF. Sorry, not sorry.
I don't want to go to Chloe's Halloween party.
That's mean.
This is mean. Who's sending these?
I don't know what's happening.
Who is sending these?
I don't know what's going on.
Wow.
It's just text to speech. I don't know.
That's crazy.
That's our first podcast.
That's our first podcast.
How do you feel? What do you think?
Felt exactly the same.
Did it?
Maybe a little different.
Yeah.
I wore green because we don't have a green screen.
No green screen? Green shirt instead?
Which is great because most of my clothes are green, and I really had to be careful about my closet, so that was pretty great.
That works out.
It works out.
That works out. We're going to still work out, not kinks, but we'll figure out. There's going to be a little bit of a different flow to what we do here, so we're figuring that out. We are officially, as of this morning, available on any podcast platform.
Wow.
You can subscribe to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, wherever it is, you can do that. So
Nice.
if you're listening to us on one of those, you already know that. But if you're not, if you're watching this on YouTube.
If I have a Zune, can I get us on my Zune?
No. I don't know, maybe.
That might be a big chunk of our audience. We need to look into that.
Zune followers? Zune users?
If you know someone who is a Zune user, contact us because we want to talk to them and figure out
I think
how we can
majority of the people
connect.
watching this don't know what a Zune is.
I believe that.
Do you have anything to say before we sign off?
Welcome to the pod.
Welcome to the pod.
Question 23.
I want to say this is season 2, episode 1
Love
of Question 23.
Love that. Wow, we had a 23, 24 episode first
25.
season.
This is
25
episode 26.
First season. Wow.
Yeah.
Welcome to season 2, episode 1, folks.
Welcome.
Nice.
And yeah, that's it.
All
Stay
right.
tuned for whatever we do next. Josh, that was fun.
That was great.
I love you.
I love you too.
Please don't leave me for... Was that Kendra texting me?
I think that
don't
might
know
have been
who that
Kendra
was.
texting you. That was crazy.
I don't like that.
Don't worry.
I'm blocking the number, though. I'll change my number quick.
As you should. As you
ASAP.
should.
All right. I love you.
I love you too.
See you later.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Another text. What's happening?
And tell Josh he better take a lactate because we're going to get extra creamy tonight.
Ew!
That word is ruined for me. She used
She
cream
used
and creamy.
so
That
many
was awful.
times.
I hated
Awful.
that. All right. We're leaving for real now.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.